Hi, and welcome to this episode. Unfortunately, Libby is not feeling well today, so you are stuck with me and me alone. That's okay. It's a short video. I'm going to be going through our solution for Wi-Fi. And Maury is here. What a handsome boy. And he's sporting his brand new collar and, no, just wait, and his brand new leash. His other collar and leash were now over 7 years old. I'm surprised they lasted that long, but they did. And so we finally got him into a new one. Anyway, we've got some good news about our Wi-Fi issues that we've been having. So here we go. I realize it's very difficult to see the fine print on this Wi-Fi report, but this is an overview of the Wi-Fi experience that we've had in the first 55 days of our journey. As you can see here, we have only had Wi-Fi for 13 of the 55 days that we've been out. And of those 13 days, we've had a total of 3 that we would actually consider to have a good signal. Now, this is a little bit of a misnomer because the Boise, I have indicated that we did not have Wi-Fi. Apparently the park did. But where we were located, it was so far away from the main office that we couldn't even see the signal. It didn't even show up on the phone as an option. And when I did mention it to them, they said, oh yeah, we only have the one Wi-Fi hotspot and it's at the office. And so you need to be within a few rigs distance of the office in order to even pick it up. And we were on the far end of the park, so we didn't even know it was there. And of the ones that we did have of those 13 days, it's surprising that most of them we would get maybe 1 bar on the Wi-Fi, sometimes 2. We've only had a couple of locations where we had 3. And in both of those locations, the Wi-Fi was still relatively slow. The location that we are at, as I'm recording this, we actually have a Wi-Fi hotspot that is immediately next to our trailer, which is pretty good. And I thought, okay, this is going to be great. We hooked up to it, and even though they've got hotspots all over the place, it is still going back to one central server. And with the number of people that are here using it, it really slows down to the point that it's not usable at certain times of the day. So it was because of this that we decided that we needed to take matters into our own hands. And so as a result, we did all the research. We've spent several months, actually, even before we were going, looking at this. I think we kind of got into a place where we thought we weren't really going to need it. We thought, okay, yeah, we can just hook into the Wi-Fi at the various campgrounds, not realizing that most of the places we're staying they don't have Wi-Fi. And then the other thing that we didn't think about was how the quality of service was going to be, even if we did have Wi-Fi at a particular campground. Again, we found out that most of them very slow, not even usable. Try streaming a show of any type and it's constantly pausing, and you've got the little wheel going around as it's waiting to get signal again. So all the research that we looked at some of the 4G, 5G, 3G, 5G systems that were out there. The ones that we located seemed to be either good for Canada or the US, not both. And we didn't really want to have 2 systems and 2 different plans. And I was looking at things like the Starlink system. I thought it was a little overpriced on a per month basis to get the roaming service. But when it came right down to it, we did have the budget for it. Like I said, we weren't using it because we thought we could get away without it. But it has really become quite evident to us that if we want to be able to even upload our videos, if there's a few shows that we want to stream, we need to take matters into our own hands and have something that is available to us. And so a few days ago, we broke down and decided to get the Starlink system. At least this way, it's going to be good in both Canada and the US. It'll be good in some of the remote areas that we like to camp in, particularly those places that are in some of the national parks and provincial parks that don't have Wi-Fi but still have a decent ability to get a signal. So our Starlink system, if you're not familiar with it, is basically an antenna. It just needs a clear view of the sky. Today, the day I'm recording this, very cloudy, overcast, but I haven't noticed any issues in getting a signal. We seem to have very strong Wi-Fi in the trailer at this time. It has a fairly long cable that comes with it, so that will give me an opportunity if we're in an area that has a few trees, maybe to be able to find a spot that's got a clear view of the sky. And as of right now, we do not have this hardwired into the rig. It is merely coming up through a window. There's a little groove in the weather stripping that allows me to bring the cable into the trailer, and then it is just hooked there into the router and a power cord that goes down and plugs into a power bank. And this is perfectly fine. We were able to set it up so that it is password protected, and now we have our computer and all of our devices are connected Wi-Fi through the Starlink system. And that was the other thing that really became clear to us. Our first stop in Dinosaur Provincial Park, beautiful area, but we didn't have cell service, let alone Wi-Fi. I mean, it's nice. There are times, I have to admit, there are times we have gone on holidays specifically to be able to cut the cord and disconnect and just sort of get back to life. But then we realized after a few weeks, it was like, wow, we are really not being able to connect. Now, the other thing that to just be aware of is that we did get a pretty decent cell phone plan. We share 60 gigs between the two of us, and it's a nice plan. It's unlimited data, but after 60, it throttles back, so the speed ends up being slower. And we didn't think that we would ever burn through that much data. We knew that if we were trying to upload videos, absolutely. If we're doing a lot of streaming, absolutely. But, you know, just general day-to-day stuff, we actually have found that we have no problem burning through, between the two of us, 60 gigs worth of data. So the phone has already experienced a throttle back, and we find that now it's a little bit difficult to get into things. So we want that to be available when we're actually on the road moving. So we want to be able to have maps. We want to be able to look things up. We want to be able to find things. We want to be able to keep in touch with people. And so we find that the phone, the amount of data we have, that's fine. It's the other things. It's my addiction to things like Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert, which I need to watch every night. It doesn't take very long to burn off a whole lot of data when you're streaming stuff every single night. I did get rid of a couple of our big platforms. No longer have Netflix. We decided we weren't using it enough to justify keeping it. And the other two that we have, they're not up for renewal for several months. And so we still have them. But again, we can't use them off of our phones. So this way, at least until we make a decision whether we're keeping those other streaming services or not, I will at least have some Wi-Fi in the trailer to be able to do that. So we're hoping now that we will be a little bit more productive and proactive on keeping you up to date on what our journeys are all about. This particular episode is just to let you know that we finally bit the bullet and decided that if we're going to be full-time, we are in an environment now where we really are missing our streaming if we don't have it. So we solved it. Okay, well, that is it for this week. Thank you very much for joining us, and we should be back to more of a regular format, hopefully by next week.